Hi everybody, Dwayne here. Welcome to Ignis Cycles. This is the second video that I'm going to shoot for this particular bike. I started this bike I think about 3 years ago now. It's getting to be longer than I anticipated, but I've enjoyed this. And anyway, I'm doing a lot of R&D these days. I'm out riding around, making sure everything works. And I just thought I would shoot a video because sometimes I get questions about, what did you do, etc. Can this work or that work, kind of thing. So being a custom bike lover, I just thought, hey, I'm going to shoot another video here. So I started with a 2008 Triumph Speed Triple 1050cc. Now, a lot of people do custom bikes a bunch of different ways. There's no right way or wrong way. But in my case, I was thinking about long-term ownership. Who's going to own it? Maybe it's me, maybe it's not me. If somebody comes along and offers me $15,000, I would sell it. I'd want to finish it first, but I would sell it. So that being the case, you don't want a mix match of all kinds of parts from all different kinds of places. In other words, if you are purchasing a custom bike and the front end's from somewhere and the forks are from somewhere else and the engine's from somewhere else, that's a lot to kind of keep track of. And as things need maintenance and service, where do you go to get that done? So I wanted to try and keep all of the major parts Triumph and original. So I'll just kind of walk you through a little bit here of what's been done. And like I said, that was kind of my thought process, was ease of ownership moving forward. So started with the 2008 Triumph Speed Triple. It originally had 1,200 miles on it. So this was a very fresh, very new bike to start from, which is what I wanted, again, because I'm thinking long term. If I'm going to put money into it, how long am I going to have it? Or if I finish it and somebody wants to buy it, I want them to get a newer bike. I don't want them to spend 15 grand on something that they're not going to want to keep for, years on end. So, and again, the CCs at 1050, this is probably your second bike. You want something now that is going to be street legal and fun for a long period of time that you're going to enjoy. So let's go through what's been done. We'll start up front. You can see the headlights. Those are the standard Speed Triple comes with dual headlights, and I decided to go with this two-tier kind of projector style. The front mudguard or fender was something I bought online, and then I chopped it. It's steel. I chopped it, cut it, re-welded it, and put it back on. The top yokes with the gauge cluster and the ignition switch. Cut that apart. When I say cut it apart, I cut the gauges the way they were mounted. They were mounted very kind of straight up looking at you, and I cut them and remounted them and welded the bracket down to create a nice line coming off that front tire. So I kept the original Triumph gauge cluster. And again, just because everything works together, so why split it up? So it's the original Triumph gauge cluster, and then I relocated the ignition switch on the other side of the bike, down on the side between this frame rail. So if you look on the other side of the bike, you'll see that. The aluminum work up front, I did, of course, myself, and then also I basically used the same location that the turning signals were originally in, but I created these, I wanted to side mount them, so they wrap from the front around to the side, and they're sequential. So what you'll see is when they're on, and they'll remain on as a running light. And then when you turn the ambers on, the signal will come on, and then it will return to its running light position. So there's the running light. So it just gives you an extra set of lights and helps you be a little bit more visible. Let's see. The next thing, I guess, as we work our way back, of course, bar end mirrors. I added heated grips because on a naked bike, you know, again, long term and usability, heated grips are just a great thing to have. You've done any amount of riding. The tank was repainted. It has this brushed steel right here on the tank. Again, all the aluminum work I did in-house. So that's the radiator cover or guard. This belly pan section, that was all done in-house. These original brackets right here were chrome on the Speed Triple, and that looked pretty dated. So I had a buddy of mine who's a powder coater. He powder coated these for me to match the frame, and then I brushed out these foot guards or heel guards, whatever you want to call them, and did the lightning holes in them. Let's see, the seat, I have not had it professionally recovered. I am going to do some more shaping so that it fits a little nicer into this tail section. And that brings us to the tail section. So this is all custom work on the tail section. I wanted something that really helped expose the back tire. So I didn't want something hanging out. So I chopped the frame rails and tightened this whole area up, and then made this rear cowling out of aluminum. Decided to keep the original stock exhaust. When I got it, it had a little shorty pipe on it. They're really loud and obnoxious, and again, long-term use, you know, I kind of think the stock pipes are better. I've always kind of preferred the look of the upsweep exhaust on the Speed Triples, personally. I just think it kind of gives them a little bit of attitude, so kind of like that. Yeah, so this cowling was all custom made. It's aluminum. The rear wheel, the original 2009 Speed Triple, had this kind of aquatic yet ninja star looking rear wheel design, and I just really did not like that. Felt that was pretty dated. So this is a 2014 wheel, and in order to do this, you also have to change out the hub. So the hub is also from a 2014, and then I had to take the stock rotor from the 2009 and mount that to the 2014 hub. So this is all Triumph. It's 2014, and we'll keep it moving here. So next thing would be the tailplate. You're not going to be able to see that here from this camera angle. Maybe I'll walk around here at the end. But that's all custom work there, making the tailplate side mount. And I think that's about everything. It's been a fun little project. I'm going to move the camera here. It's been a fun project, and I worked with a machinist to have him make some of these parts. Let me see here. I'm going to try and hold the camera and show you what I got going on. So the machinist made these brackets for me that cover the indicators. So he made this for me as well, designed these up. He made them for me. Here you can see the double headlights that are stacked. And when the low is on, this bulb is on. When the high is on, both bulbs are on. And here I'll show you the gauge cluster. So here's the gauge cluster. And again, the idea was to, rather than having it flip up and look at you, to bring it down and have it follow this line coming off the front tire. Relocated the ignition switch. You can see that here, right there. So that's where the key placement is now. And then we'll come around here to the side. I'll show you the top of the tank. So this is brushed out, brushed metal. Got the Ignis Cycles logo there. And here is the side mounted tailplate. So it's inspected, currently has, I want to say close to, it might be 8,000 or a little over 8,000 miles on this bike. So I've obviously been doing some R&D and you know, putting it through the paces. So again, if somebody does buy it, it is a legitimate, you know, roadworthy bike. You're not buying something that's you know, that's not rideable or is just a show bike. So there you go. Let's throw the highs on so you can see the highs. So there's both bulbs. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, I think that's going to do it from here. Again, sometimes I get stopped and ask questions, and I thought, I'm going to shoot a video. So now you know what I did. So there it is. I call it the Fighter 1 project. It's the first Street Fighter project I've done. I've done some customizing before, nothing quite to this extent. Would definitely like to do more moving forward. And got some ideas and some parts. So you never know. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. We'll see you later.